Come here, please. Lina Alam. Greater than my imagination. Greater than my imagination, Lina Alam.
You and I are very different, yet we are very unique. Do you know what makes us special? What can be greater than one's imagination? The answer to that question can sometimes be very difficult to find. Life has a cruel way of taming you, and life picks at your confidence and breaks you time and time again. It is very difficult to feel special when you are feeling broken. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, judges, and honored guests. While preparing for this speech, I was wondering how I could inspire anyone when I myself am feeling low. I asked my dad if he could help with some positive inspiration and uplift my mood. He said, "Don't worry, that part of your mood comes from your mother's side." He quickly hugged me and said, "Now you are in good hands. Are you not feeling positive already?" My father then introduced me to a video. It was titled, "How to be motivated, especially when you feel like giving up." It was excerpts from some of the greatest women and what motivated them to overcome obstacles. I always wondered what my calling in life was. I always prayed to Allah and asked Him to use me, use my life. I don't know what the future holds for me, but my fate teaches me that there is a vision for my life that is greater than my imagination. And I remind myself of those inspiring women as I prepare to fulfill my purpose in life. I learned, while most people are dreaming of success, winners wake up and work hard to achieve it. We have to know that our lives have limitless possibilities and believe that there is always something better out there if we are willing to work for it. How many times we feel like giving up at the slightest obstacle we encounter? I remind myself to look back on how far I have already reached and to continue pushing myself forward. I remind myself that failure is the opportunity to begin again, only this time more wisely. I'm sure you all here are trying to tell me, "But Lina, you have never failed on the scale we have." Perhaps true, and I would like to remind you, it is not the severity of your failure or how many times you have failed in the past. Actually, coming to think of it, some failures in life are unavoidable. It is impossible to live without failing at something unless you are living so cautiously you might as well not have lived at all, in which case you fail by default. I recall one of the inspiring women said of fear, "Fear is nothing more than an obstacle that stands in the way of progress. It ensures people everywhere are denied the opportunity to live up to their God-given potential." Another wise lady shared what had inspired her. She saw life hitting her hard in the face, waits for her to get back up just so it can kick her in the stomach, and getting the wind knocked out of her. And that's when she realized how much her lungs liked the taste of air. There is so much to learn from this wisdom. Firstly, getting up every time you are knocked down And most importantly, failure teaches you how sweeter the end goal and victory is. Recall I asked earlier, what makes us unique? I am not here to tell or teach you all the value of hard work or how to gather the strength to continue working through obstacles. But rather, we all have a potential that is God-given, and not achieving its full potential is a crime against God and humanity. And we, in our unique ways, are discovering our potential. My potential is a vision greater than my imagination, and I just turned another leaf with you all today. Toastmaster.
Sabah Sheikh. Now is the time. Now is the time, Sabah Sheikh.
June 4th, 2014. Don't worry, it's not a memorial date, but it was one for me. Because that day, my eyes were open. Because that day, I could see the world differently. That day, I volunteered with CARE, and we went to Fourth Ward. It was a regular day, and we were just supposed to pass out food for the people in need. I usually didn't like speaking with other people because I didn't want to feel attached or know their stories. But this time was different because my friends all told me you have to mingle. So I did. And that day, I learned the worst stories of my life and saw America differently. Madam Toastmaster, honored guests, fellow Toastmasters, and contest judges. Today, I will explain to you the two horror stories I saw that day. The one was about a mother who was telling me about her daughter Natalia. She said she had leukemia, and she had health insurance, and they said that they wouldn't provide for her. Said that because she had acne, they wouldn't let her do anything. And so they had to pay full cost for everything. But right before they had the surgery, they found out she had a liver transplant. They needed one. And her company said no. They said that we don't have to provide for it. So they waited 3 years. And when she was 17-years-old, she died. And that was mere seconds before they said that they will pay for her. But it was too late. What would they do? It was too late. She already died. What's the point then? Another story was about a girl named Robin. She said she had breast cancer. She also had health insurance, and they said they were going to pay for her. But what happened is while they were checking back, they saw that she misread something and wrote an incorrect answer. And that allowed her not to get her health insurance. And so they didn't pay. She filed against them, and she asked, go back and pay again. And they checked, and she was clear. But before she could check, they found that she died. because their tumor grew double the size. So what's the point now of checking if no one's going to do anything now? We already know our country is terrible and it's not going to help us. Even with Obamacare. Obamacare is just a health insurance. It's not going to provide health care. Even it says in the Constitution that health care isn't mandatory for every single citizen in the United States. So we can't depend on the government to help us. And the government isn't only because of the government. It's built with us. Without us, the government is nothing. So here I'm supposed to say why we should give to our country, what we should do. With other foundations like CARE and my company, Half a Day, we're going to people in need and helping them. I heard another story I read a couple of days back about people who don't have the ability to fill the money for it. They just take them, put them in a car, drive them away to somewhere they don't know, and they just drop them, saying that you live your own life. They don't know where they are. They have no money to help themselves. What do? The only people who are there are us. We are there to help them. Some of them need operations, have legs broken, have brain. If we don't do anything, what will happen? We have to help everyone. It's our responsibility. It's our right. We can't depend on the government for every single thing possible, because one day they'll come and say that you don't deserve it. Did you know there's a huge list of diseases that if you have that you can't have health insurance? A huge list. Many people just call up and they say that we want health insurance, but they can't. Because at the end of the file, they find one small little thing. And even if they find it, they'll call someone. They'll say that, you have this small little tiny thing. I remember my dad. He said that he wanted to buy medicine for my grandfather, so he put it under his name. When they checked that it was under him, they raised the price. So we had to pay for his health insurance for a long time. It's not a good thing that we are doing this. It's also very bad because many other countries like France or Cuba have free health insurance. And they're living peacefully because they care about everyone, because they're decent people. So because we don't have the ability to do with the government, we are in charge for ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves. We have to help others, because what goes around comes around again. So now is the time to give. Thank you. It's so bad.
I think you're good. You're good. Okay? Good luck.
Nabeeha Tahseen. End your race with a happy face. End your race with a happy face. Nabeeha Tahseen.
Then the principal said, Taha, I did not expect this from you. That day, I felt like a loser who lost the race. I started my 4th grade race in the wrong direction. To be honest, your language sounds like some dying donkey. To teach him another lesson, I loudly said my ultimate dialogue. Welcome to hell. Then I punched him. My whole class started laughing. My teacher saw the drama. She called my name in a disgusting manner. I walked over to her desk. In fear, she said, Taha, what did you say over there? I murmured, welcome to hell. Taha, we don't say that here. Come to the office. That day, I felt like a loser who lost the race. My 4th grade race was still in the wrong direction. After 2 big disasters, I thought I lost my race. To be honest, I didn't do anything wrong. I was just speaking from my heart, like a politician. I realized that my teacher did a lot for me, so I decided to do something about it. Finally, the last day of school arrived. I quickly wrote an apology letter. I gave it to her. Dear teacher, I know you are a great teacher, and I know how much you've helped me throughout the whole year. I'm sorry for my mistakes. I saw the tears of joy in her eyes. She said, thank you, Taha. Your letter meant a lot to me. That day, I felt happy, like a real winner who ended the race with a happy face. Ladies and gentlemen, are you driving your lives in the right direction? Our lives are just like a race. A famous scholar, Siraj Wahaj, once said, it's not about how you start the race, it's how you end the race. I started my 4th grade race with 2 big disasters, but I ended my race with a happy face. Friends, don't worry about the way you start your race, but focus on ending your race with a happy face. Toastmaster.
May we have 1 minute of silence while the judges mark their ballots.
It's live. Is your phone with you? There's no phone.
Fatima Suhail, 20 seconds. 20 seconds, Fatima Suhail.
As some of you may know, Nabeeha is my best friend. We do everything together. We grow together, we learn together, and most importantly, we argue together. When somebody says her name, there is a sure mention of my name afterwards. And in our spare time, we spend moments together. But there is one other friend that I have that is closer than close. That this friend, from when I was about this high, she decided she wanted to be a part of my life every single step of the way. And so, I began to recognize her presence before she even entered. I became familiar with her, and I trusted her. But so did some of you. In fact, a lot of you are friends with her as well. Some of you are very close with her. Some of you see her as a constant companion. But some of you only get the passive hi, how are you? And her name is fear. Fear is someone that ensures our survival. She gives us the instinct to run from danger and the ability to recognize it in the first place. But for me, fear has always limited me. It has always kept me. Back in 5th grade, if I ever had a question for the teacher, before I could even think to ask the question or to raise my hand, fear would pop up and say, "It's a stupid question, better not ask it," and so I wouldn't. If I ever wanted to put myself out there, participate in a play, start a club, do anything thrilling, fear would casually, yet slyly, grace me with her presence and say, "Do you really want to do that? Do you really?" And so I wouldn't. And in this way, fear caged me within my comfort zone, not a step outside, and I let it. I didn't even realize what I was doing, but I let fear control me, time and time again. When I first realized this, I read a quote. Benjamin Mee said, "It only takes 20 seconds. 20 seconds of insane courage, of insane bravery, and I promise you, something good will come out of it." And then I realized, if I continued to befriend fear like the way I did, I would only remain another case of unfulfilled potential. And so the next time I had a question in class, I gathered all the courage a 10-year-old could in 20 seconds, and I raised my hand, "Teacher!" And then it hit me. 20 seconds doesn't last long. But there I was, and my teacher expected a question, and so I asked a question. And after that moment, I asked question after question after question. Sitting in that 5th grade classroom, I realized something that changed my life forever. That it only takes 20 seconds. 20 seconds for me, 20 seconds for all of you, to battle the thing that holds us back. Fear is strong. But when we realize that it doesn't take much to beat it, we become stronger. We have all made the inevitable mistake of befriending fear. We treat it like a close friend. We take it to family dinners. We drag it along when we go to work and when we go to school. But with 20 seconds, know that you are stronger than it. Thank you.
May we have 1 minute of silence while Adiba Chowdhury, Catalyst. Catalyst, Adiba Chowdhury.
Every parent has the coming to America story.
Some people, it might be how they met their spouse. Others, how they got their first job. Others, how they achieved the American dream. My mother's story is how she got 5 traffic violations at the same time. Welcome, audience member, Madam Toastmaster, and esteemed guests. When my mom first came to America, my dad was so busy that he would not even have time to eat breakfast. And so my mom, being the lovely person that she is, every morning, without fail, would pack him lunch, drive to his work, and give him his food. And it sounds nice, but there's one problem with this situation. My mom did not have her license. But at the time, my mom decided there was no point in getting a license because clearly it was going for her right. And one day, cosmic karma, if you will, culminated into one fateful encounter. The speed limit was 40 miles per hour. The speed limit was 40 miles per hour. So naturally, she was driving at 50 miles per hour. Strike one. All of a sudden, behind her, she hears it. It was the feds, the 5-0s, the fuzz, if you will. It was the police. And so at this time, my mom assumed that when a car was flashing lights behind you, they were not telling you to pull over. Instead, it was more of a kind suggestion. So she continued driving for a very long time, which from the policeman's point of view must have seemed like he was participating in the world's slowest car chase ever. Finally, my mom gets the hint and she pulls over. But in her freakout, she forgets to turn on her signal when she switches lanes. Strike two. The policeman gets out of his car, saunters over, and taps on her window. Ma'am, do you know what you did? Now, my mom's a dignified woman, so she replied like any dignified woman would. She clutches her steering wheel, looks up at him, and says, "No." He says, "Ma'am, can I see your driver's license?" "You may." "Can I see your driver's license?" "You can." "Ma'am, this is a learner's permit. Do you have a driver's license?" "No." The man at this point is extremely tired. He says, "At least can I have your insurance papers?" Strike four, you know the drill. "No." At this point, the man is like, "Jesus Christ, lady," and he saunters all the way back to his car to start writing the ticket. He notices something, and then he comes back like he regrets it. "Ma'am, on your permit it says you need eyeglasses when you drive. Do you have your eyeglasses?" "No." And so my mom is panicking. She's wondering, how am I ever going to live this down? How is my husband going to let me live this down? Because can you imagine, at this point she has 5 tickets on her name, and each one is around $200. So the policeman comes up to her one last time, gives her the ticket, and says, "If you get your license in 7 days, the judge will lower the fine." My mom does not get her license in 7 days. She gets it in 5 days. And so when she goes to the judge and shows him the license, for all of those tickets, she only has to pay one fine of $45. Whether it be all of your midterms at once, whether it be all of your personal relationships seemingly deteriorating at the same time, whether it be 5 traffic violations in one car drive, sometimes it seems to us that when life hits you, it hits you hard. And in times like that, we might think that the easiest thing to do is to stop and give up. Sometimes we think that when the only thing that we can do is grip our steering wheel, look the problem in the eye, and say no, that it's time to give up. But dear Toastmasters, that is not what we should do. We might think that it's an act of cosmic karma that is telling us to stop, but really, I think it as a cosmic catalyst. It's nature's way of telling you that if we did not do this, you would not have ever taken a step in the right direction. Because sometimes it takes 5 traffic violations to get knocked into reality. Sometimes it takes 5 traffic violations to realize you must do something. Sometimes it might take 5 traffic violations to go and get your license. Madam Toastmaster.
May we have 1 minute of silence. Nabeeha Tahseen. I'm coming home. I'm coming home, Nabeeha Tahseen.
When I was 16 years old, like any other brown kid on this planet, I got my first job offer from a startup IT company. My interview was done by an Indian woman by the name of Lakshmi. As I sat nervously across her, she asked me all the technical questions any engineer would ask. But more than ever, we clicked as friends rather than employees. I talked all about the home state, Oregon, that I just moved from and how I lived there practically my whole entire life. And then she asked me a question I really wasn't ready for. Do you miss your home in Oregon? Respected Toastmasters, ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, and anyone who has ever felt home. My mind began to rewind itself to the time when I was 2 years old. When I was 2, home was in my uncle's arms in Hyderabad, India. When my father left India to look for a better place, my mother and I found home in an airplane flying east towards the city of Minneapolis. When I was 5, home was in my kindergarten class in the tiny city of Portland. Home from then on changed countlessly. I moved so many times in my life that home being a physical structure didn't really make that much sense to me. And this began to tear me apart. I began to feel my loneliness in the worst way possible. I began to cling on to anyone who seemed nice. If Hannah was sitting right in front of me during lunch, I would talk to her throughout the whole break. But I realized that Hannah would sit with me one day, and the next day she would hang out with her real friends. If my father would take me to the park, I would assume I'd come back next week. But that day never came. Disappointment after disappointment only made me feel emptier and emptier. Because I realized that the people in my life were just as temporary as the places I lived in. If everyone left and if places changed, where do I go? What do I call home? Fear and anxiety began to be my vision. I looked at the world with distance. Until one day, in 8th grade, my English teacher gave us an assignment, and it was to write poetry on the things that you are most thankful for. That night, I came home and I wrote and wrote and wrote. I wrote with such passion, with such diligence, that when it was my turn to speak, I did it with such passion that at the end, people were clapping for me. People were smiling at me. And at that moment, I realized that the people were listening to me. That my parents were listening to me. That Hannah was listening to me. And for the first time in forever, I felt home. From that day onwards, I wrote poetry every single day. I began to reclaim myself. And then I realized that home was not in Oregon. Home is not in Texas. Home will never be any place I will move in the future. Home was wherever I was. Ladies and gentlemen, there will be battles you will fight, and it will tear you apart. That disease that you're battling will feel as if your own body turned on you. That bully will mercilessly torture you at school, and it will make you feel like a wreck. That new home you just moved to will feel nothing like the one you just moved from. I looked at Lakshmi, and I said, I'm already home. You see, ladies and gentlemen, You will battle every single day, only. Time knocking at your door. Look into its eyes and say, there is no place for you here. This is my home, for home is wherever I am. Thank you.
Ikram Alvi. It's okay. It's okay, Ikram.
It's okay. It's okay. Mistakes happen. It's how we deal with them that actually matters. Falling into mistakes is typical for anyone, and there's not a single person who hasn't been drawn to it. Madam, fellow guests, and anyone who makes mistakes. Have you ever lost something valuable or dear to you? A few years back, at the age of 6, my dad decided to treat me and my sister, and so we went to Toys R Us. Now, Toys R Us to me was like the fulfiller of dreams. Whenever I went, I would have half my wish list empty, and then sometimes it would fill up as I walked past aisles of toys that pleased my eyes. But anyways, my dad decided to buy both of us a scooter. And this scooter that I got was like the best in the neighborhood. I try to be modest about it, but it happens. My sister, on the other hand, got a pink scooter, a pink L. A few weeks later, I kept my scooter somewhere to play, and I was planning to return to it. But as time went on, as I played and enjoyed, that thought was slipping my mind, and soon I was to forget. A few hours passed, a few more, and my brain didn't trigger. But when it did, I went searching. And I was worried because I loved that scooter, and that worry grew. And soon, I realized that my prized possession might never come back, and it was lost. And I was heartbroken. And I under my covers next to my fluffy bear and slept on a wet pillow. Now, mistakes happen, but I learned something. Going back to my story, a few weeks later, my dad decided to buy me a bike. Now, I don't know why, because of the past incident, but I was happy. Now, as time went by, my parents became less satisfied with their purchase. Every now and then, I would bruise myself. And like one time, I would come home with another bruise, and my dad would say, struggles like this would make you stronger. And then my mom would say, what are you saying? Poor kid, are you still fine? Are you good? And then time went on, and I think at that moment, my parents were just happy I didn't break a bone. Most of the bruises that I got were from racing and being reckless. And my parents wanted to stop, especially the racing. Before I left to play one evening, my parents came up to me and said, "Kid, if you're gonna go outside, just be careful, because things could happen, and the worst of outcomes are to be possible. So play outside, race, but just be careful." Now, my parents forgot that you can't stop a 7-year-old from racing. And so I went that evening, and we had a race that I'll never forget. I went down the road, and I saw a car coming, so veered out of the way and went onto the sidewalk, where I took a turn. Correction, I tried to take a turn. I fell, and I bruised my elbow and my knee, and best of all, I had a broken bike. My friends took me home, where my mom put me on the table and said,
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
My parents put me on the table and said,
Allahu
"How are you feeling?" I told her to be careful, but now it doesn't really matter because your bike is broken and there's no way to fix it. It's a wreck. And at that moment, I realized that my bike was out of my life, and that was the last time I rode it. The mistake had happened, and I learned something from it.
أشهد
Dear
أن
friends, fellow guests, mistakes are opportunities to make you a better person. You learn from your mistakes. Mistakes have the power to turn you something better than what you were before. When I lost my scooter, I realized that you have to be careful and responsible and take care of your belongings. When I broke my bike, I ended up learning that you have to be careful and cautious in whatever you do, and that parents predict the future. But anyways, both of those opportunities have brought new aspects into me, and that made me a better person. An American businessman, Robert Kiyosaki, once said that don't waste a good mistake, learn from it. So tackle your problems, make mistakes, learn from them, and become a better person.
حي على الصلاة حي على حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
استووا واعتدلوا. استووا واعتدلوا واستقيموا يرحمكم الله. صواب. Straighten the lines, close the gaps, make sure the line is straight. Heels on the line, stand shoulder to shoulder, make sure there are no gaps. Fill up the spaces, make sure the line is straight. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. استغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو. استغفر الله الذي لا استغفر الله الذي لا إله. اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام. Alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. We've been announcing for the Quran night that's going to take place tonight, and I've just been saying that it's just recitation, but actually there's much more to it than that. It's a very packed night tonight with motivational speakers, inshallah, that are going to be speaking tonight. In addition to that, we also have a live Hifz competition. So basically what's happened is Sheikh Abdul Kareem has been testing Hifz class students, and now 5 are the finalists, and Sheikh Abdul Kareem will be testing them live in front of the audience to see who wins, inshallah, from the 5 in that Hifz competition. So these finalists came from a group of 60 Huffaz that were tested for their strength in memorization of the Quran. So in addition to the recitation, we have the motivational speakers, we have this live Quran competition, inshallah. So you're requested to participate and benefit and enjoy the program, inshallah, tonight after Salatul Maghrib. And after Salatul Isha, we also have a program where a doctor is going to be coming and talking about the issue of the heart, health issues, and how to maintain a healthy heart. So that is something, inshallah, that everyone is requested to also participate in.
Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. My dear respected brothers and elders, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has kept our success and the success of the entire humanity in following the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Regarding this, inshallah, we have a very important talk of Iman and Yaqeen Inshallah, all the brothers are requested to come close to the member after the dua and azkar, inshallah.
Ikram, you are a self-starter and a natural leader. You always take on new responsibilities. How have you used Toastmasters to help advance these skills?
Can you repeat the question?
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Okay, ask the question.
Ikram, you are a self-starter and a natural leader. You always take on new responsibilities. How has Toastmasters helped you advance in these skills?
Before I came to Toastmaster, most of you know this, who know me, but I used to I couldn't talk that fluently, and I used to stop every now and then. And Toastmaster had brought that aspect into me, speaking whenever I need to, and that helped me become who I am today.
Thank you, Ikram, and here's a certificate of participation. One of the traits of being a Toastmaster is confidence. And Mamoon, you come out as a natural leader and a natural person with a lot of good confidence. So what weaknesses of your personality did you use Toastmasters to overcome?
Well, I feel before Toastmasters, I didn't really know my speaking style. I didn't know whether I was better at motivational speaking or I was better at something humorous. And through Toastmasters, I've basically realized that I myself don't enjoy motivational speeches, like giving motivational speeches that much. I enjoy giving humorous speeches, making people laugh, because that really makes me the happiest and makes me feel good.
Talha, you are part of Toastmasters for the past 3 to 4 years. How has Toastmasters helped you in your everyday life?
Toastmasters helped me a lot because when I came to the Toastmasters, I noticed that you have to start volunteering more. Like every opportunity there's to speak, you have to jump up to the opportunity. And the more opportunities you take to speak, the more better and better you get eventually.
Nabeeha is our senior most member of our club, and as you all saw today, a very accomplished speaker as well. From all the experience that you had, what is one advice that you give to the audience here today?
Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon all of you. As all you know, my father is Tahseen, the owner or the coach of this club. And he wasn't a coach of this club, he was also my first coach ever since I was 10 years old, ever since I got into speaking. And if there was one thing he taught me from since 10 was that you just have to try every single time, because sometimes that speech will be like the worst thing you'll ever do and you will not want to do it. It will keep like a horrible pit inside of you. But to overcome it, you just have to keep on trying and giving your best and keep on giving speeches, because you'll get better and better every time. So, yeah.
Adiba, you were the club president last year, and we all know you as a very outgoing person. In 30 seconds or less, could you share share with us a memorable moment from your tenure?
Here, this is an evil microphone. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. As you can see, I'm kind of a mess at the moment in time. This is a metaphor for my tenure as a president last year. Okay, I'm joking, but I'm a procrastinator, and I might get that from my mom, but I learned a lot about responsibility, and I think that helped me a lot, so thank you.
Tahseen, owner of this club, you're buying them a microphone.
Lena, and here's just another first for our club. She's only joined our club about 8 weeks ago, and yet she stood in front of you all today and delivered an amazing speech. She's an example of how Toastmasters has truly inspired young students to be self-disciplined and ambitious. So Lena, could you tell us about what you hope to achieve from Toastmasters?
I'd like to become an assertive communicator. Being a Muslim American female, I'd like to defend the rights of being different.
Sabah is interesting. If anybody I can personally vouch for who has benefited from Toastmasters, it's Sabah. So Sabah, how has Toastmasters helped you?
Well, none of that's true. Well, I think it made me more confident in myself that I can come here and say what I want to say without other people judging me. So I feel like I became like a better person through Toastmasters. Thank you.
When I first met Fatima, she was a really reserved and shy person. But would you all agree that today she was not shy or reserved at all when she was delivering her speech? So Fatima, could you tell us what aspect of Toastmasters has helped you transform yourself to the person that you are today?
Toastmasters forced me to go on stage. And I think that's one thing that Toastmasters is good with, because a lot of us are reluctant to go up there ourselves. But when you're forced, you realize that you actually have talent and that you actually can do it. So it forced me to be the speaker that I am today.
Everybody just come here with your certificate. We'll take a group picture and then.
They were going to come up for an interview. I just emailed them last night saying, trying to interview, and none of them knew their questions. This was all an impromptu day. So please, when you see it, recognize it for the hard work. And now please help me welcome our club coach, Coach Tahseen.
you. Thank you. Summarize, I'll say, amazing. These kids are my club members. I'm one of them. We started only about 1 year ago. And alhamdulillah, thanks God, we see so much difference. We started from 0, and now they are ready to go and speak anywhere. This is not because of me, not I'm the owner. It is because of Toastmasters. And it is because of Toastmaster friends. Toastmasters has that structure. And the Toastmaster community is not for Muslims, not for Christians, not for Jews.